If you want to win in Dynasty, it's not just about the players in your lineup. It's about the guys that you stash before the breakout happens. With week 1 kicking off this weekend, these are my top 5 Dynasty stashes you need on your bench right now before their value takes off. So let's get right into it.
Hey.
The first guy that we're going to be talking about here is LeQuint Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was their 7th round pick out of Syracuse, and I watched him pretty extensively at Syracuse just because I'm a big Kyle McCord fan who also got drafted this year out of Syracuse. And man, LeQuint Allen has a lot of surprising elusiveness. He's got good size at 6 foot 205. And the most impressive thing that I thought about LeQuint Allen was his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. They didn't run a whole lot at Syracuse. They actually led the nation in passing attempts outside of, I think, North Texas. But LeQuint Allen, he's already been being hyped up by the coaches around him, saying he's like a versatile chess piece. They can line him up in the slot when they need him to as well. And they kind of have a issue at slot wide receiver. I know Travis Hunter can play slot sometimes, but they're probably going to have BTJ and Travis Hunter on the outside. So they have like Parker Washington and guys like that in the slot for them. And I think LeQuint Allen could get surprisingly high number of targets in the slot role. You know, obviously he made the 53-man roster, which is great. If this guy's not picked up in your leagues, he's on a roster, on an active roster right now, which you cannot say the same for a lot of these other guys that are on these people's taxi squads like Nick Nash and guys like that. He is on the active roster, and we have no idea what this Jaguars running back room is looking like. You know, you have Travis Etienne, Bashul, Tootin, Tank Bigsby, all of these guys where we don't really know who's going to be the lead back there. I don't expect LeQuint Allen to be the lead back here, but he definitely has some opportunity. And if you look at LeQuint Allen's value on Keep Trade Cut, he's the RB92. And for a guy that can be utilized in the passing game a decent amount, I think this value is just a little bit too low. Yes, Travis Etienne can be used in the passing game as well, but with how they're talking about him in camp and throughout the preseason, I think LeQuint Allen might get more shots at getting receptions and things like that throughout the season. So don't sleep on LeQuint Allen. He is a very good stash if he's available in your leagues. If you guys watched any of the Ravens preseason games, you know exactly who LaJohntay Wester is, but he's not rostered in a lot of leagues. But there's a reason for that. He's kind of profiling as their kick/punt returner, which obviously doesn't equate to fantasy points. But I think with his skill set as a receiver, I think he can see the field, maybe not this year, but next year, right? He was their 6th round pick out of Colorado, and he didn't test particularly well at the combine. He's only 163 pounds, which is very, very undersized for the NFL level, but we've seen undersized guys in the past like Xavier Worthy and Tank Dell be able to overcome their size, so I can't rule that out completely. But in the preseason, he looked great as a receiver. Obviously, as a return man, he was lethal. And the reason why he's on this list is because the Ravens' long-term wide receiver room doesn't look anything spectacular. Now, I know the Ravens are built on the run. They don't throw a whole lot, but Lamar Jackson still throws a ton of touchdown passes, so it gives these Ravens wide receivers and tight ends touchdown upside on any given week. So with LaJohntay, he's only playing behind Zay Flowers, who I do think is a long-term answer for the Ravens. You have Rashad Bateman, who I don't think is a long-term guy in this offense, but he did have a great year last year. DeAndre Hopkins, definitely not a long-term option. Devontae Walker looked horrible last year when he played. And that's basically all the guys in this offense, really. So LaJohntay, if he can continue to make waves, make some plays when he gets those opportunities, I think he can be a guy that will stick around in this offense and at his peak can probably be a wide receiver 2 in this offense as long as he continues to perform, because he performed and played his butt off all throughout the preseason. So very excited. He's got spectacular yak ability, and he kind of reminds me, I think at his peak, he could be somebody like a KaVontae Turpin. I know Turpin had a kind of a breakout year last year in certain games, but I think he's up for a lot of receptions this year compared to other special teams players, of course. So definitely keep your eye on LaJohntay Wester. He's not rostered in a lot of leagues. You can see he's the wide receiver 152, has barely any value at all on Keep Trade Cut. So keep your eye on him. He's probably worth a taxi squad addition if you have one. Every year there is a tight end that becomes relevant that is one of these day 3 tight ends. So Thomas Fidone could be that next guy for the Giants. At 6'5", 243 pounds, if you look at his athletic measurables, he is a very high-end athlete for his size. Running a 4.7 at 6'5", almost 250 pounds is super impressive. And that's kind of why the Giants picked him in the 7th round. At Nebraska, he didn't have the biggest production numbers. He was hurt his freshman and sophomore seasons, I believe, with an ACL injury. But then he kind of came back during his last few seasons at Nebraska and actually had a couple of solid seasons. But with Thomas Fidone, I think he's a guy that can come in. Right now he's their tight end 4 on the depth chart, but he did make the active roster. I think outside of Theo Johnson, who I do like a decent amount, he's got a lot of injury concerns and he hasn't really held up at the NFL level thus far. We'll see how he ends up doing, but I know Daniel Bellinger's okay. I think Thomas Fidone offers a lot more upside than Bellinger, so I think he can be a dynamic receiving threat in this offense if Theo Johnson goes down, and I'd like to see his carries, his opportunities kind of go up and up and up as the season goes on if he performs. He's a tight end stash for sure. Him and guys like Oronde Gadsden. I think Gadsden's mainly rostered in most of your leagues at this point, but Fidone probably not. He's worth a stash if you guys believe in this Giants offense like I do, and I think that they can get him involved if Theo Johnson goes down. So you're thinking about a tight end handcuff here, but I'm betting on the athletic intangibles. It's a clear-cut success thing for tight ends where if you're a high-end athlete, for the most part, you're going to be successful at the tight end position. So Thomas Fidone, you can see where he is right now, the tight end 57, so way on down there, basically no value whatsoever. So get him on your lineups while you can. Put him in your taxi squad. I think he could pay off in the next year or two. Before we get further into the video, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also, if you want access to my full Dynasty rankings, you can check out the Google Doc link in the description below. It's completely free to view, and if you want to talk Dynasty all season long with the community, make sure to join the Bobby's Big Board Discord. The link is in the description. Alright, let's get right back to the video. All right, next guy on this list is Raheem "Rocket" Sanders, the Cleveland Browns running back that went undrafted. Not sure why it says Arkansas here. He graduated from South Carolina, and he was very good there. I liked a lot of what I saw on film out of Raheem "Rocket" Sanders. Liked his quick feet, liked his power. He's always chugging those legs to get extra yardage. Something that I was really happy with him about on film. And he was signed off the undrafted free agent list for the Los Angeles Chargers. For whatever reason, they waive him despite not having a really good third running back. And the Cleveland Browns pick him up, which I think that was a great pickup for them regarding, they cut Pierre Strong. It's just Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson at this point that are ahead of Raheem Sanders. I know Quinshon Judkins will probably sign in the next 2 to 3 weeks if I had to guess. But for now, with that situation being uncertain, I think Raheem Sanders has a place in this offense for now as a short yardage power back, goal line back even. So definitely think he's worth rostering right now in terms of your taxi squads. I think he shouldn't have went undrafted in my opinion. He has enough talent to be something in the NFL. His feet are very good. And I mean, at 6 foot, 220 pounds, a 4.4 640 is definitely really good. I don't think that he plays to that speed on film necessarily, but definitely like what he brings to the table as a runner. And right now he's the RB93 on Keep Trade Cut, so a little bit higher than the other guys on this list. But guys, I think he's definitely worth a taxi squad, just kind of a wait and see type of guy. I think he definitely ends up on a roster long term. I don't know if it's with the Browns or not, but he offers enough upside and he's good enough to where he can be a valid threat in an offense for years to come. He's only 23 years old, so I think he's worth betting on right now if you have him available on waivers. Now we have a quarterback on this list, and it's Riley Leonard for the Indianapolis Colts. Their 6th round pick out of Notre Dame. And guys, Riley Leonard was very good at Notre Dame last year. He led them to a national championship appearance, and he can get it done with his legs, very much so. And he showed some ability from time to time to make some NFL level throws last year for the Fighting Irish. I will say his mechanics are kind of all over the place. His accuracy can be at times not the best either, but I did like what he showed in the preseason. Didn't make any stupid decisions for the most part out of a throw here and there. And at 6'3", 210 pounds, he offers you a ton of rushing upside. I kind of compared him to like a really kind of low-end Josh Allen type, but he can develop into somebody like Josh Allen. That's the upside that Riley Leonard brings to the table. Maybe doesn't have the same arm talent that Josh Allen does, but in terms of the rushing upside, they're very similar players. Now, with Riley Leonard, the reason why he's on this list, the main reason is the Colts quarterback room. You've got Daniel Jones, who's already been benched once last year, was terrible. He didn't look very good in the preseason either, so I don't presume Daniel Jones is going to start more than 10 games for the Colts this year. And then you have Anthony Richardson, who's been wildly inaccurate but has a lot of high-end athletic tools. We'll see if he ends up getting a few starts this year. I would imagine so. But if they both continue to struggle like they have in years past, I think they might trout out Riley Leonard for a couple of starts this year just to see what they have in the kid. And if he thrives, he could very well, I know this sounds crazy, if he thrives in a couple of games this year during these opportunities where he gets to start, he could very well be the next starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts. I know that sounds crazy, but he will get a few opportunities to see if he's the real deal this year or not, I had to imagine. And Riley Leonard, you see him on Keep Trade Cut right now as the QB 47, as the guy that I think can get multiple starts this year if those quarterbacks struggle. I think QB 47 is way too low for him. He's got a ton of opportunity with this Colts offense. I think he's a guy that Shane Steichen likes in terms of a skill set. And if he develops well, he's got a lot of high-end traits that you're going to want to have on your team. Those are my top 5 stashes heading into week 1. These are players who may not deliver immediately, but they've got the upside and opportunity to become valuable down the road. Keep your eye on them, keep them on your radar, keep them on your bench, and you might just get ahead of your entire league.